We are good? I think so.
We look live.
Sound. Alright. Welcome once again to the Old Waves of Spero. I am your humble DM, Benito. And I have a very small group of individuals today. Some are away, one may be showing up a little bit later. And we hope the other one is showing up later. We haven't heard from Jeremy. But let us get going here. So we'll start with Jen. Who are you and who are you playing?
That's such an existential question. Who am I?
Who are
what
you?
am I doing?
What is your motivation?
I'm playing Lady Carowyn Cadell, a fighter and daughter of the local lord, but we're not home, so I guess it's not local.
Yeah, you're not local anymore. And Mark.
I'm playing Starlock, Wizard of the Order of Blue Roses, Diviner, and military investigator, internal affairs.
Yeah, little investigator for sure, for Greyheim. For the city of
Greyheim. Yes, I'm an agent of the court.
You are a local boy here. Art.
I am playing Ash Excaligo, a cleric of Cross, god of protection. And yeah, that's it. I got nothing else.
Tyler.
I'm Tyler. I'm playing Tyros Rono, the lonely druid hermit who's recently been pulled into all this chaos.
I think you are chaos, if we remember how we got here. That was pretty much a lot of what you were, Tyler.
Remember when I was weaseling around last time?
Yeah, and going nude, if I recall right.
I should be swirling around, not weaseling.
All right, and Nate.
I play Ian Spire. I play a bard, lazy bard. Sorry,
Still with lazy.
Ex-convict.
Ex-convict.
For the amount of times I've been in jail for doing nothing.
It fits.
You repeat yourself. You've already said bard.
All right. Last we left off, the group was convinced to go to Greyheim by one of the military commanders from the Greyheim forces. He wanted to clean up Welshire. To do that, though, he wanted everybody out, including Lady Carowyn and her entourage. And it took a little bit of corralling, getting everybody into the carriages to get them out here, but that shenanigans has led some interesting things, but it has happened. We've arrived in Greyheim, and we have met the Lord and Lady, and about kind of explained some of the situations kind of going on, but not a whole lot. With that, they've introduced Starlock. They want him to kind of do an investigation with this group to figure out exactly how much help will they provide. And Starlock has kind of determined that. But when that was starting to happen, our seer, more or less, or warlock friend, Yujiro, started to state that might be a bad idea if we tell them too much. Hello, Jeremy. Speaking of the devil. And that kind of got some interesting dialogue and confrontations going on amongst the group as we innuendo information to Starlock. So Starlock, you have returned, I believe, at this moment. I'm not sure exactly how much the group is still ready to talk. If you want a moment of refreshing, we can do that before Mark is here as well. It's up to you guys.
Jeremy, you ready to jump into it? Because you're the one who had the say.
I think yes.
You want a refresher or anything is what we were talking about, or are you good?
I think when we left off, I had approached Starlock because I wanted to see if any information that we gave him was strictly between us and him.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we'd gotten that far, but yeah, that's I think what we were going to ask him.
Alright. So I guess we'll pick up there. Or did you say we're waiting for somebody?
No.
Nope, we're not waiting for anybody. Waiting for you.
Okay.
Stephanie said she'll try to be here, but she will definitely be late, and Lewanika will not be able to make tonight's session.
Alright.
And also no Matt.
So, Starlock.
Yes.
Or Sir Starlock. Um,
No, just Starlock. I'm not a knight. I work in association with the knights, but please don't place me above my station. I don't want people to think that I'm taking titles that were not given to me.
that's understandable. So, since you were assigned to us, anything that we say, that we share with you, is between you and us, right? Until our case or however this plays out.
So I will and need to occasionally, in the course of investigations, confer with other experts on things that I'm not well versed in order to get to the bottom of things. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm an agent of the court, so at some point I will be reporting to their lord and lady regarding the matter that they set me on. Will I be tattling to any bards other than the ones here in the room? No, that would be unprofessional. I don't work for tabloids, dime novels, other such things. I'm not certain if that answers your question.
Perhaps it does for now.
So the concern is he has received an omenish that these details, if we gave them to you, could lead to the demise of Greyheim. So the concern is all these details that we give you, if they get shared too far and wide, causing damage here, which none of us want as well.
No, I certainly don't want any damage to Greyheim. Right. And being aware that such an outcome could happen definitely is appreciated and helps me be more aware of any kind of result like that. Understandably, understand that my position, my given profession, or the role that I've been assigned by their lord and lady, is as an agent to investigate the harm and issues that are occurring in the town, the village that you were summoned from, that you're attempting to protect from demonic incursions. My interest is in the best interests of those citizens that are being harassed and attacked by things beyond this plane that they have no capacity to defend themselves from. So my interest is in making sure that the lands of Greyheim have their best defense, and that I can report back to the court to get more assets and resources if we need forces, or we need a delegation of mages or clerics or whatever it is that we need to end this threat. That's my goal. And because you all came here as defenders of that village, I'm assuming that my attempts to defend those peasants don't interfere with your own motives. If your motives, for some reason, for whatever reason, would want to see further harm to that town or to prevent intervention and the defense of that town, then yes, we would be at cross purposes.
Hey, Mark,
but I didn't see that happening.
I need an insight check as to how much you actually mean on that. Crappy.
I'm not going to resist it, so there's no deceit on my side, so I don't know what that got you.
I rolled a 10, so it's just an average.
Well, then you roll a persuasion. I mean, either way, you normally could roll a persuasion or deception.
So you want to roll persuasion in this case?
Yeah.
Hey, I got a 4. So you beat me.
Yeah. So you're pretty sure that he's authentic, as
okay.
he's just not as a bureaucrat and more or less using lawyer talk to make it mildly, he's just telling you the facts, and you decipher as you get. He doesn't seem to be having anything deceitful
He's
about
still
it.
a bureaucrat and a mage. You gotta watch him.
Yeah, but you're feeling on it. You're feeling you are actually feeling his sincerity. Like he's like, hey, dude,
No,
I'm just giving you.
That's what I wanted. Need to know.
Just giving you what I know, what I'm about.
So I would say the only thing at this point would be the concern of we can give you whatever information we can, but we need to make sure it's protected. It sounds like maybe we've already been very loose with our speaking of this to other people, and perhaps sharing this knowledge around might be bad in general.
Ash and Ian, please give me a history check first. Before
That'd be
guys
you,
go.
Ash.
I can
just telling
assure
everybody
you
everything.
that I don't have any extraplanar allies, entanglements, patrons, or other such things that might have agendas outside myself. I would assure you, which is, hollow because you won't believe me necessarily.
All right, Ash.
That,
we're going to this. You know that the Circle of Roses are the collection of mages, that are allowed to operate within city limits. It's pretty much a way for them to be governed, and they can do their things, but they're controlled. Like they have allegiance to the town on that part.
Right.
The variation of the colors, though, is kind of like sub-factions within the organization that you're aware of. But what I'm kind of leading into is there is a way in amongst that you can actually use that to cover up information, depending on how well he delves back into the circle itself. If he feels like there's something kind of going on, he can kind of rely on that, and there might be other circle magi's high enough that might be able to buffet intel to a Pacific city's ruler in that regard. It's a little dangerous because, remember, nobody likes the magi's and sorcerers because of silk, but it is something. If it is something requiring that, and if it would prevent worldwide fear or whatever, it is something that you could do.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's something you know too, Mark, in that regard too.
So I think it's important that we actually share this information with someone that can report back and filter out details as needed. I know you're against sharing information, Yajiro, but sometimes you have to get help from people. I know you don't
sometimes you
things.
Also have to keep your mouth shut at times.
You don't know when I've kept my mouth shut, so.
Well, so far I've only ever seen you open it.
Yeah, well, I try to help people. You seem to like to obfuscate information.
Only when I think it's necessary.
Which is frequently.
Is it?
Yeah.
I tend to think I'm a pretty honest fellow.
I didn't say you were dishonest. Misleading. Well, how would we proceed from here?
Well, it sounds like you would like to give all of the facts to Stylock here. So, I will not go against you, Ash. And I will draw up the runes as they are laid out.
Thank you. And if you get any more feelings from your patron, perhaps share them rather than just act on them.
I'm more of an actor.
I know. That's why I said what I said. I would appreciate it if you shared them rather than act on them. So we didn't have to like go through this whole hoops that we were jumping through. If you had just said, "Hey, hold on, I'm getting a bad feeling," maybe we could have avoided this whole thing and actually agreed on things.
Yeah, but every time I tell you something, you immediately open your mouth and say it. That
I
does
only
make it
told
more
him-
difficult to tell you things.
It also means that I know what certain people need to know at times. You can't protect people by holding back information all the time.
Oh, sometimes you can.
I'm kind of glad Stephanie's not here right now. I'm completely agreeing with you.
Yeah, she'd be on my side.
Guys, we can debate how much we want to say until dawn, but all we're doing is wasting time right now. We need to come to some sort of a consensus, or somebody just needs to do what needs to be done so that we can get back.
Oh, he said he was gonna share the rules as they were written.
That's also assuming the Lord and Lady will let us go.
Granted.
Yeah, at the moment, this is considered an investigation. That's what Starlock is doing. So he has not reported any type of findings to the Lord and Lady.
Yeah, there's no saying that they'll even let us go back to Wellshire after he's given them the information. We don't know what they're gonna think. They could think us all crazy.
Well, if there was someone
back in the town,
if there was someone that could act as a character witness or vouch for you or something like that, that you were able to speak to and make your case to. Oh, wait.
There is.
That would be the person that brought in all the donuts and coffee, made sure that you had a good meal, got everything all set up for you so that this wasn't quite as hostile as it seemed at first.
Oh, no, it's just internally hostile. It's okay.
Oh, I understand internally hostile.
some of us
Now
aren't
that I
very
understand
trusting.
that you have other voices inside your head besides your own, I have a greater understanding of the situation entirely.
I'm not crazy, by the way.
I didn't say you were crazy. I said there are other voices inside your head.
Sometimes that does imply to the people not well versed in that individual's crazy.
I've seen things also. Being a diviner, you don't always find good news, and you don't always see things that you would care for.
We live in a land of magic.
If I were an artificer, I might be trying to make something that would, help you unsee things. But
All right. So, is it safe to say, Ben, that I hand over a sketch that accurately lays out the symbols?
If you feel that way, yeah, you know she'll give you exact details. It's up to you. You're the one that altered it from your own conversation.
I was gonna say, didn't we actually tell him about all of the runes and what they? I remember Jeremy.
You did, but Jeremy lied.
I was gonna say.
I'm a good liar, though.
You played along very well for that scene.
You talked about like butterflies dancing in the wind.
Yeah, but he was
and
giving
some other stuff.
He was giving some amazing descriptions alongside of it, so it was fantastic.
there was a cockroach, a horse, a lute, dagger, a boat, an eye. Yeah.
Yes. So now Jeremy can tell you the correct iconography to it.
I mean, they were close. I mean, with this, we could hunt down a group of teenagers sacrificing cats in the graveyard, but we know that that's not what this is. This is not Walmart Satanists.
you sure about that? Junior was not the smartest cookie.
Ooh, good call.
Junior was definitely being handed the information from somewhere else.
Jeremy, do you want to give him the descriptions of the actual current ones?
Yeah, so I'll point to them on the paper. So this one here, this was the first one that filled up with the blood of Junior's father. This is the basilisk that we ended up having to fight outside of the town before it could reach the town. This second one here, this is called the poison dart. We ended up having to fight this creature as well. We did lose some of our villagers, unfortunately, to this one.
So the poison dart was a creature? What sort of creature was it?
Ben, did anybody ever get a history check on it to find out what kind of creature it was?
A manticore,
I
maybe?
think Tyler knew what it was Manticore.
Okay,
It was,
Manticore.
yeah, it was a manticore.
Because Tyler harvested it, for sure. Right in front of Jen's front porch.
They had never seen anyone butcher a manticore before.
No
I
one saw
concur,
anyone
my lady.
butcher the way you butchered anything, Tyler. That was the whole point.
I'll say that out loud, but I concur, my lady. He knows nothing.
Okay.
But I will try to help him understand as time goes on. The third one here, this is the serpent. Again, we had to fight this one outside the village to try to protect as many as we could. I think this fight probably went the best in our favor as far as losses or any potential losses. After that are ones that we've yet to have to encounter or defend our village from. That is the beast, the ravenous, the leviathan, the warbane, the maelstrom, the sword, the tyrant, the tempest, and the fallen demon.
It's not the ravenous, it's the ravnos.
Ravnos.
Yes.
Okay.
So the beast was 4, Ravnos was 5, Leviathan 6. Then what was 7?
The war maiden is 7. The maelstrom is number 8 here.
Yep, the sword is 9.
Sword, the tyrant, the tempest, and the fallen demon.
As he pointed all this, you'll see in the circle that is all done in abyssal runes. So if you speak abyssal, you will identify them easier.
Let me check. Nope. I don't speak abyssal.
I think an important distinction is also we've been told that this does not pertain to demons, it pertains to devils. The two warring sides, of course. And this seems to be the work of devils versus demons.
Additionally, simpler versions of these runes were found in my parents' bedroom shortly after they collapsed.
So they were. Where were they in the room?
Well, I had returned from. I hadn't been home for a while. I came home and they were already in their bed, but I was told that they had collapsed and that these runes were. We found these runes in and around their bedroom in their bed.
They seem to be attached somehow, maintaining them, feeding off of them,
Keeping them from death,
but also
but
keeping
not
them.
from life.
So like carved into the bed frame, written on paper?
Carved in the
Ben,
bed
I
frame.
can't remember, what was it?
Carved in the bed frame.
Carved in the bed frame. Also worth noting, the magic is of the realm. Ian attempted to revive the Seneschal
Senior.
when we first found him, and was unable to. As he tried to cast magic to heal him, he got backlash from the realm and the damage I couldn't heal with my magics either. On Ian. Ian had to wait until they healed. So these magics are tied to the realm and the extraplanar creatures, the demons, the demon circle. It's powerful stuff. I was able to get an idea of where a demon had come into their house, either to finish the circle, finish the summoning, finish the ritual, but it had disappeared through a mirror.
Okay.
Which is, of course, a typical mode of transportation for him. So the
So
demon
you-
devil is gone.
You fought the first three things, but your concern about timing is that the beast, the fourth rune, could be attacking the village anytime.
At this moment, possibly. There
The
has
timing-
been no regular timing.
Right. The timing seemed random, but we always had warning because blood would fill that rune, and we would know that the attack was imminent at some point.
So we would check the runes daily.
And I noted actually
Well, you would
in my
check the
notes.
runes daily because no one else could read them.
Right. The blood that would fill the runes was not Winston's blood. I have that distinctly written down.
Yeah, I was confused about that for a while. I thought it was Winston's. Out of character, I misunderstood. And the time between rune being filled and creature appearing varied. The basilisk, we traveled into the woods and tracked, but shortly after the rune filled for the manticore, it was in town, moving quickly, and right on top of us. And then with the serpent, again, we had to travel into the woods, and it took a lot for us to find that hydra. You would imagine a hydra would be easy to find, but it wasn't.
Yeah, wouldn't that have to go on like how fast the creature is?
Possibly. It could also depend on how close they are, or where they're summoned from.
Yeah, we don't have an understanding of that yet either.
But it's worth noting. That's why I bring it up. Is there anything else we can tell you?
There's one other thing. On discovering the runes, we searched my room and my cousin's room and my brother's room, and there were black snow globe shaped objects on the bedsides in my room and Tomas's room, and they were devil's eyes. And we covered them, but they're still there. I was afraid if I moved them or removed them that something bad would happen.
Okay. So you think that they were viewing devices, scrying devices?
Yes.
Did they have any of the runes from the Zodiac on them? Or other abyssal runes?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
But there were there were additional abyssal runes in Lady Carowin's parents' bedroom, which we believe to be the cause of their illness.
Right.
Yeah, that
Right.
we said that was on the bed and stuff.
Wait, what?
Okay. So let's see.
I think the concern we have at this point is I point at the drawing of the runes. This seems to be the thing that gave him his warning. These actual runes are probably the thing we're most scared of, or worried about getting out. The ideas of this, all the other stuff seems to be cause and of the runes themselves. You know, all effects, all spell casting things. These runes, I suspect, that the Raven Queen was worried about.
The Raven Queen is concerned about these runes.
That's where he got hit. Well, getting out and causing damage to Greyheim.
This is clearly some sort of blood magic. And
Yes, it definitely is.
and my patron, the Lady Raven Queen, is most concerned with this blood magic getting into the hands of somebody who could bring about the downfall of Greyheim.
The symbols that you described this second time, now that you have chosen to be honest, are recognizable as a black zodiac, which is old enough that it was thought that they'd been forgotten, that they're not common knowledge in the realm. So it is something that has been in Alanis before, and is dark working. It's devil magic, blood magic. And it looks like somebody is trying to revive something or bring something back, bring something through.
I wonder what that is. So, what is our next step? We would like to obviously get back to defending our town.
Yes, and I agree that is force. Some group needs to return to Welshire and take up its defense.
Well, to be quite honest, you know, when we were summoned, there was a group that did stay. That you know, those that told us that we were summoned, but I do not believe that they took what we had to say with any seriousness. I don't feel that they understood how dire the situation is.
And I can understand that too. They were what, predominantly soldiers?
Yeah. All soldiers.
And accustomed to dealing with things that respond to honest steel and direct force. So I can see where they would be skeptical.
They were ignorant.
They were led by
in the literal sense of the term, yes. And probably closed-minded because it's outside their realm of vision. But also, it's not their job to hunt devils, so that's probably not what they were expecting to do. And this thing that you found in the basement is something that has not been seen for so long that it's been forgotten about. Take your ease here with the food, the facilities. Did you have a chance to get cleaned up before we met in the court?
Yes.
Okay, good. take your time with the food. I need to go and report. I can tell you from experience that the couches are quite comfortable when exhausted. I don't know that you'll be able to sleep, but perhaps you're so exhausted that you won't be able to stay awake. Either way,
we need to get back as soon as possible.
yes, as soon as possible, but that doesn't mean that while I'm reporting that you wouldn't be able to have some sort of short rest or nap here while we were able to do it so you could be fresh when we left. Pardon me, I will return as quickly as I can.
Are we able to leave? Like,
that
this
is not
room?
for me to say.
Okay.
I don't know. However, if you wait just a moment, I'll step outside the room. Are there guards posted outside? Ask the guards what their instructions are.
Just to keep the guests comfortable and defended.
Are they permitted to? Well, I'm sure that they can't. Are we in Are we in the palace, the government building, or are we someplace else?
You're in the Lord of Greyheim's estate house, where he meets. His official meeting house, so to speak, like the grand courthouse or something like that.
So this isn't a place where people just randomly wander. They're escorted.
Not necessarily. Greyheim is not a hyper paranoia city. It's more of the indecency of leaving the hospitality of someone who's given you everything you need to be safe and, roofed. Type of etiquette. There's no one holding you there. Like no weapons have been taken. I don't think I took any weapons. They didn't try to do anything like criminal-wise to you. They just kind of brought you in as guests because Lady Carowin is, in all essence, she's nobility. So, and she is a bloodline of Greyheim. So they're not going to treat them poorly in any aspect. This is her entourage. So if they want to go somewhere, they could. It would just be difficult if you were like, well, if you're just going to wander around, then we can't tell you what news or blah blah or whatever. Unless you're saying, I'm going to go to this place.
So specifically, I want to know if there's like a library or some place where I could start reading up on the history of Wellshire, like who founded it, why did we set it up, the land that was there before then, like myths, legends, all that stuff, because I feel from this conversations we've just had, we're missing something, especially where he said that that's ancient. It's making me think that maybe this has been there before Wellshire. So I want to see if I can get information like that.
Well, Starlock, what's your answer to him?
I could bring you some books. I would need to check with the Circle Library. I'm not certain. A lot of people aren't comfortable with the idea of stepping into the Circle Library. And I need to...
I'll happily go to a Circle Library. I'm not scared. But if I could have access to do that, I would really appreciate it.
There would probably also be a Church of Thoth that would have some of that information as well.
Possibly.
But I feel like with him mentioning that the Zodiac is ancient and probably forgotten, it feels like that maybe this was here before Wellshire. So, who knows?
Well,
Something that happened there before Wilshire was built? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, maybe it's part of the land that was there.
there really isn't a village in Alanis that is not built on the wreckage of 17 villages before it. So, significant change.
What happened to those villages?
Yeah, he has a point. The history of those
Alanis
villages.
sort of stuff happened to those villages.
I understand that.
But if you're this, I get where he's trying to go. It could be a dead end, but
it could
I
be
mean,
something.
yeah.
So recognize that the nature of the library isn't something where outsiders may use the library if they're comfortable being there, but it is very much along the lines of coming into a reading room or a parlor and giving your requests to an attendant who then goes to find the things and brings them back to you. So you're not going to be permitted to be wandering the stacks. You will be brought the things that you ask for.
Looking in the stacks of a magical library, but asking someone to bring me books on that specific area of anything written down would be a start.
Okay.
But again, that's up to the Lord and Lady of Wealth if they will allow us, me or somebody, to go.
Also hoping that that person wouldn't filter what they give you.
Well, there isn't some sort of universal filing system for the library, and it's not like the titles are written on the spines of the books in a lot of cases. There's a lot of rolled manuscripts. There's a lot of loose paperwork. Without the training that the attendant has, you wouldn't be able to find things any better or quickly. You would be able to go with your own confirmation bias that you have found everything that was available, or you could rely on the trained professional who does that daily, and the circle mages rely on that attendant for those things as well.
You know, back at home, we have this guy who works in our library named Dewey, and he used this numbers and decimals. I should have him talk to your people. Organization has been great.
And you know that system very well, do you? You could call it to mind and find what you wanted immediately?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There's just numbers that mean different things. You could just go find it. I'm sorry, I had to.
I was dancing
around.
Most of the kids
now know is Google. Google and Wiki. They don't know Dewey anymore.
Nobody knew Dewey before.
All right, so you're going to stay. You're going to keep.
I'm going to go
here?
report.
Who are you reporting to?
I will go back and report to whoever it is that's expecting my report. I didn't.
The Lord.
If I'm speaking directly to the Lord and Lady, then that's fine. I just wasn't sure if I had that level, that position in the hierarchy, or if that was significant enough that they're waiting for me themselves.
Yeah, he asked you. He appointed you. So.
Okay.
But
then I'll go back and
you have sufficient answers. You don't have to report immediately. Like this, I want to just be clear. You have time to do whatever you feel to come up with an adequate answer, because he's making a ruling on these people's situation. So if you feel this is... He doesn't typically take briefs. He'd rather have a complete, yes, we help these people, no, help these people are mad, or whatever type of things. But you think he may ask you the questions, you just want to make sure you're as complete as possible, because it's going to be that type of meeting with him. Not, hey, I think we need to kind of check into this, blah, blah, blah. He may not be quite happy with that type of initial report type of thing.
I think that these people are...
Well, you don't have to give me an answer now. I'm just asking you, do you want to meet him, or would you like to go do some other things to double check any more information that you've been given now, or wait till the morning and question him again? These are things that you're allowed to do as the lead investigator to this dilemma.
Okay. I want to go back to the Circle Tower.
Okay.
And talk to some mentors and people and get some good, some more serious divination going on, and try to find out some more information.
So you're going to walk back to the tower. Meanwhile,
if you're going back to the tower, is it okay if Ian joins you and does that research you had talked about?
So I would have left the room for that particular part. I'm going to request or pass along the.
Oh, you broke up.
Come on, start back up.
We got you.
Awesome.
Or maybe not.
We heard you, Mark.
He crashed.
Well, while he gets that restored, anyways, I can answer pretty much. He kind of left, so that leaves you 5 or 6 because you have Magdalene. You're all in the room. You sort of have no what brief part of it. Do you wish to remain here and just take that as let's wait for Starlock to get his information and make his ruling, or the Lord makes the ruling, and go from there, or would you like to break etiquette and roam?
So, am I back? Can you hear me?
We hear you. Your video's frozen. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. So, tech problem at the dramatic moment.
Mhm.
My image is frozen, but that's fine.
You can back out and refresh back in, and I usually fix everything for Vorpal board.
I will pass along that Ian wants to use the library.
Okay, you'll do that when you get to the tower, then.
Yep.
So right now, I'm going to check with them to see what they want to do while you're walking to the tower. Alright? So, what is the decision of the group?
All right.
Well, I want to ask if I was out of line. Like, was I in the right thinking that, or am I just crazy?
No, it's a good idea.
No, that's a great idea.
Okay.
No,
What about you, Yandra? You usually think things are crazy.
What?
we could always ask one of the guards to bring you over there. He said
I
it's
do
a
not think
possibility.
things are crazy.
We'll know where you are.
I think it was a great idea, Ian.
But I
You
think
don't
we're
normally have
also.
good ones.
I know. I usually keep them to myself because I think they're crazy. But something about we might need to know the history in more depth. Because
Well, and I'd be interested to know. He said they were the Black Zodiac. He named them the runes. Does that mean then that the runes, as they appeared in the past, were exactly the same, or were they or is this a variation? I wonder.
He said a Black Zodiac. But yeah, I'm curious as well.
Something
Lady
that,
Carowin is going to sit on the couch. Or one of the couches. She's not going to leave.
I'm not gonna leave. I will wait till he asks because that's what I assumed he would do. At least that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I vote for a wait here also, but real quick, something that stuck out about the Manticore and the Hydra was that they were markedly larger than a normal Manticore or Hydra would be, seemingly magically enhanced to be larger, like abominations of a Manticore and a Hydra. So I tend to think they may be coming from someone or something who's driving them to come here.
In other words, maybe they're a summoned creature rather than something just drawn from their natural habitat.
Exactly.
It's good to know.
Good point. Pointy ears. Good point.
Alright, so you're staying? Everyone's staying put?
Yeah.
Alright, Starlock.
I'm not.
You get to the tower. Who is it that you wish to see first?
Let's see. I will go to Skywise first.
Okay.
So I've worked with her more. Brief her on this and inquire after Morin and Snowdrop if they're available, because those are the 3 people that I usually work with or are probably the best experts on what we're dealing with right now.
Alright, so you're telling Skywise pretty much everything about this Black Zodiac and that the town is sort of in dire.
Yeah. I'm really concerned that they have had 3 events, each one each seems to be getting bigger or worse in some way. There are 12 in total that we can probably anticipate. And because it is lower planar, the villagers have absolutely no chance without magical intervention. So we need both magical and military, potentially, intervention to deal with this. Hopefully, not a whole lot of soldiers, since it will be single beasts at a time.
Well, it sounds like you should speak to No Snowdrop, but I would, from what you're saying, I would recommend that you tell the Lord that you would advise for full evacuation of its civilians and leave it as a military-occupied area.
That's an excellent point. I was hoping to defend them in their homes, but it would be better to actually get them someplace safer. It will also help demonstrate a different point. If it's the land that's cursed or the area that's cursed, then the demons will keep coming to an empty village. But if this has something to do with the people, then the problem will follow the people. So that will solve a problem. Let's do that.
Well, I'm going to go off the assumption that they told you that the creatures were always trying to touch the circle. That is why they're so intent on getting back to defend it. So it's definitely not the people.
That was brought up. Yeah, and so Snowdrop, I believe it was mentioned that this is reminiscent of a black zodiac, something which was nearly forgotten or so old as to be forgotten. What was going on with it then? What's that about?
You'll need to discuss that with her. I have no idea.
All right, then I guess I will try to find her.
All right. You find her pretty much. It doesn't take too long. She is books piled up in the library where she is, which is very common with her. She's studying. Which she commonly does and never acknowledges anybody around her unless they bring her to get her attention.
Is it afternoon, evening?
It's afternoon.
Probably. Afternoon, Snowdrop. What are you studying today? What are all these piles for?
Oh, more of discovering about the mist. It's always the intriguing part of where they touch, where they open up. What brings those that it brings and keeps those from leaving. The forever riddle.
That is definitely a very important subject of study. What can you tell me more about this Black Zodiac these people from Welshire are reporting?
There's a Black Zodiac again? That is an old tale. One, I believe, more in the Underdark, but nothing ever on the surface. That is what I recall.
What race in the Underdark?
I believe it is of the drow species.
Refresh my memory. Loth is a devil?
Loth is a demon.
But these are devil runes. Why would the drow be dealing with the opposition in the Underwar?
What motivations the drow have is always one that we are always sending agents to try to discover in Arachnid City.
They have
City, I should say.
Bizarre schemes. Just seems odd.
But they are in a war. it could do something to sabotage the side of the devils. Just because they are on dividing lines, the demons and devils are trying to gain its own position of power within the abyssal realms. So, such could be something that Loth is aiding her demonic partners in some scheme against. There are many of them of that ranking power and officiality, but Loth is usually different in the regards because of her godlike status.
So, is there a known? How was the Black Zodiac dealt with the last time? There are stories of that.
I believe it was thwarted once the gate was abolished, but there is no real evidence of exactly how that was done, or how these things are originating in the creation. I believe that that could be found in Ashton City.
Mentions of clerics of Ra being used to burn the gate, close the gate down.
It's likely.
Those would be handy to have.
But one of my studies of its fascination is always how the realm sees these things, because the realm will always protect itself in this regard. So if it is of its level dangerous to the realm, you would think that the realm would already be doing something about it. But the query is, our Dreadlord is indeed more or less connected in some aspect of magic. So it could either be some type of siphon point for our Dreadlord as well. Maybe this is a rebirth or refueling, or it's unsure without actual full studies of this.
A rebirth or refueling of the Dreadlord?
I am unsure. These are just hypothetical. These are theoretical, observations into the thing. I would, if you were to go to this place and actually get to the study, you might be able to discover it's more of what it was made of, how well it was carved in. Maybe there's some other evidence that would lead to what created the actual room and the circle. But there will also be probably ancient areas that we'd have to investigate to find anything that could bring such lore to this. But this was not something that would definitely be found in the halls of Greyheim or Kazgoroth.
Well, we're definitely going to need to go there. I'm definitely going to need to go there. These people need to be protected from this, and we need to keep it from spreading further out into the realm. There's also apparently a new queen that is acting as a patron, as a force, unknown to me, which is not difficult, but apparently unknown to others, which is more surprising.
A new queen taking over a kingdom?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with patrons that are actually present in the same realm as the patronized. So it's some force.
Magic has changed. There are, to get more notice and power, magi very rare, because they are seen as dangerous to the common folk, known as warlocks, can make most of common men nervous.
Oh, that's definitely the case in this case. This Raven Queen is a patron of one of the people that have been summoned.
Raven Queen. I have heard of a buzz of this name. You say you have an individual of this.
Yeah, and would that align with a rebirth or an increase in power?
No, but I mean, historically wise, if you think about it, the gods of Alanis have always been fickle, and depending on Silk's generosity, they have come and go. I mean, we have had different sun gods depending on their ability to withstand her focus. There have been others that have been now more blessings of protection. You know, if you look, Cross is relatively a new god in this realm here, as well as Nyx. They have more established as the Dread Realm has become more of a substance in its own location in the Shadowfell.
I knew that they were older gods, but I didn't know specifics. That's interesting too. At any rate, so I'm gonna need to improv a way to stop this thing. I'm guessing that all the usual peasant villager remedies, like burning it, chopping it to pieces with an axe, doing simple brute work, isn't going to be effective on it.
Oh no. It will definitely need some type of countermeasures of the arcane sort, but again, that type of research might be... You'll need this group, if they are indeed their so-called champions, to locate that type of lore. And you're probably looking very close to Ashen City, but you know as well as I that that would probably just be a center place. There are other lost, forgotten locations buried beneath the earth, the many thousands of tunnels. There could be chances that things could be found there. There's also, with certain individuals that we've had, that such cities could also possess in their libraries or something hidden in one of the noble houses or king's houses that could give you the information that you're looking for that would perhaps unravel the mystery of this black zodiac.
Wait. Excuse me. Have you heard about a lantern that can help identify traitors?
Like a revealing? I mean, a truth thing? No.
It was part of their story, their report. But it's a little stirred up, and now I have some concerns about the credibility of some of the information since they first attempted to convince me of a false set. So if people were trying to defend their city and get help, would they tell you all good, honest information about what was going on, but then in the critical part, the critical thing that summons the beast that they're concerned about, the one real key part, would they lie about that, or would they lie about a variety of things and then only selectively reveal truth later so that you wouldn't be able to tell what was real and what were lies?
They're desperate for help. One would imagine they would be all but truthful. If they were lying, then there's an agenda. That is what encompasses lies or personal agendas.
Indeed. And they all seem very desperate and honest and sincere, except for maybe one or two. And that one is one of the most verbose. A lot of the information that I was given by the warlock,
Oh,
who is still somehow a paladin at the same time.
and the paladin, you're sure?
I get the sense that he was a paladin before he became a warlock, but I also get the sense that he continues to be a paladin, but perhaps not of the same goal, the same oath. Perhaps a paladin and warlock of the new patron, patronized in both senses.
Well, here again, if this Raven Queen is looking to become a recognizable deity, he will most likely be seeking followers. Her power will increase as he accumulates followers.
That does stand to reason.
But if he is deceiving for purposes of or
Some of them are.
If he is deceiving, then perhaps he isn't. He is actually part of the creation of the circle himself.
That would be concerning. I know some of their omission of information was concern over the fact that the Lord would censure them or not allow them to return to defend Welshire, but beyond the understandable reservations, there also seems to be other more malicious things involved.
Well, if they're holding on to their own power, again, these are usually typically for personal agendas. Now, what you do know is they are trying to restrict these Black Zodiac creatures from touching the ritual circle because we are unknown of its effects. Or did they tell you what it does?
They told me that the wheel or its circle with the zodiac signs around it, one of the symbols will fill with blood from an unknown source, and then at a later period, a beast associated with that symbol will aggress the area. They need to go out, beat it as far away from the village as possible, and attempt to defeat it before it can hurt anyone.
Before it touches the ritual circle.
Or before it touches the ritual circle. But a lot of their concern seems to be going out to meet it before it can kill farmers or villagers, which would also serve the point of keeping it from touching the circle.
Yes.
So there are several amongst them that are very sincere about the defense of the innocent.
And the warlock is the one that discovers this?
Apparently he is either one of the few or the only one who also speaks Abyssal to get the full meaning of the symbols and understand what's happening.
But he has warned the rest of the town about them?
Yes.
I would say your need to get close to this warlock is rather paramount in your investigation. But I would be very careful of telling the Lord how much of this unknown deity is affecting the investigation. For he would very likely bring much more up tier to obstruct more that we could learn about the circle.
Well, I do want to know more about what is happening with that circle. I do want to have adequate and appropriate military intervention while we're dealing with that. I certainly don't want to be involved in fights with that thing or any of those things, having heard what they've described. Basilisk, a manticore, a hydra at these points, and these things are supposed to get greater in magnitude as we go. That's a concerning issue.
Yes. You could definitely sequester some troops to that situation, but remember, the more you reveal exactly that of this warlock and the circle could prevent you from being more could prevent you more access to it. The Lord is going to use I could see the Lord fully occupying the house with several Greyheim riders and an entire company of White Elk Knights.
An entire company of white what?
The White Elk Knights. And he may or may not allow most of us to investigate if he feels if it is sealed and forgotten being the better solution.
All right, well, I should probably go back over there and check up on them. I left them with nothing but questions and wondering if they were going to get permissions for things they were reasonably asking for. But also, I get the sense that they only unwillingly sit well-behaved while being observed. If I'm gone long enough, I'm not sure of anything. At least I don't think that anybody needs to worry about counting the silver, making sure that all the candlesticks are still there.
Well, good luck then.
Good luck in your study on the miss. Hope I don't have to deal with that either. Okay.
Alright, so you're gonna head back?
Yep.
Okay.
Allow other people to play.
Have another hour. Walk back. So, Starlock shows back up, guys. You're muted, mate.
So, I haven't reported to the Lord as of yet. I went back to the Circle Tower to confer with my mentor and other experts. Ian, you are permitted and welcome to use the library. Avail yourself of its resources. Again,
Great.
It works very much as I described, so I assure you that there isn't a concern about a willful filtering or throttling of information. It'll largely come down to the questions that you ask or the things that you ask for. So you will be given what you ask for, not what you intend. So just be clear and smart in what you ask for. And
Then I'm going to ask the group to help me write down questions.
because Ben is the attendant. So yes, you should.
I think a good place to start is right where you said anything pertaining to
The history, myths,
history.
legends, old towns that might have been there.
Yep.
Like what
A
happened to
reason why it was
them.
settled-
Yeah.
a reason why it was settled there.
Yeah, like who's wanted it settled there, that kind of information.
Well, we also know who sent the Cadells there. They are here as well. We know which house sponsored them.
Hmm.
Well, that's who sponsored them, but who came up with the idea originally?
Right. But
Because that group, that family said, okay, you guys can go and do this, that doesn't mean that somebody else behind the scenes wasn't going, well, I think this is a great idea, Lord, we should do this. And then he goes, oh yeah, that sounds good. And that was the person masterminding the whole thing, knowing maybe the Zodiac is from that land and has destroyed other towns prior.
Yep.
That would be a long game. That
So-
would be a long
Long.
game.
Okay, how long have we been in Welshire and nothing like this has happened?
How long has
we've all grown
how long
up.
have the
with
Cadells been there, Ben?
Not too long.
Is it one generation or two though? Was it my parents that started it, or was it my grandparents?
Your parents.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought it was my grandparents.
But if we all grew up there, that's still quite a bit of time for prep work
It's
and getting everything.
no time at all. Let me give you some information that I found. Show that I'll share back some stuff that I got. That the Black Zodiac is something that had been heard of before. It was a long time ago, long enough to be almost forgotten. It's something that seems to have come, or it's seen more in the Underdark, and had not been noticed or reported on the surface until now. When I asked, it seems that it was that the Drow were involved in it, which is unusual because this is devils and blood magic, where the patron of the Drow is a demon. So the demons and devils are in eternal war. So I'm not sure why the Drow would be dealing with devil magic. As far as
Or would be
Even-
interested in poisoning a local lord,
elf games,
because the
that was the answer. Yeah, when I asked if Lolth is a demon, why are the Drow dealing with devil stuff? The answer was basically, who knows what a Drow thinks. It may be if the Drow use devil magic to lure out the devils to the surface, maybe away from something that the demons could attack. Or if the devils get defeated in this, they will be weakened somehow. That will give the demons advantage. But even 5 generations of human lifetimes is still a very short part of a Drow long game. So it'll be hard to figure out what that might be. It was destroyed before, or it was shut down, disabled before. There isn't a lot of information about how that was done, for whatever reason. I think that probably the Church of Ra would be very useful in having on our side there to do what they can with dispelling the evil. Also, the Black Zodiac seems to be associated with potentially a rebirth of a Dreadlord, or a refueling of some sort of patron/deity level being. That the powers that operate beyond us operate fueled by the number of and the belief of those followers. So, a new entity entering Alanis, which is not unusual, apparently, and I think I know that there have been gods previous to the gods that we know now. I didn't know particulars about them, their names, the fact that apparently there have been more than 3 sun gods, all of different names and different characteristics, and that Ra is the current one. But the idea of some new entity coming in, largely it's at the discretion or the whim of the current Dreadlord. So there may be games within games that are happening levels above us or below us or both. I'm going to speak with the Lord of Greyheim, brief him on the situation. I'm going to advise that you all are allowed to return to Welshire to continue to enact its defense, since you have the most experience with this, and that I'm going to go with you.
You'd be
And
welcome.
I'm glad that I'll be permitted.
Well, all the help, honestly, all the help we could get, I wouldn't if you chose to come, I wouldn't dissuade you.
I appreciate your
Hey, Tyros, you're part of
your offer.
the Knife Year gang. I know that you're not a drow, though. But do you know your lifespan is longer than the rest of us? Have you ever met a drow? Do you know anything of them?
I've not met any, but I could speak to them if we meet any, and they speak in their native tongue. I should be able to pick up on their Elvish if they're.
I will say, Tyler, you know that there's the ancient enemy in Alanis. Like, if there are people of great evil, the drow are them. Like, most of the sinister plots that tail back to well long back in the history have involved the drow.
So the drow have had their hands in all sort of sinister things that have gone on in Alanis.
And now we get to deal with another plot of theirs. Great.
I have a question, and maybe it's directed at Benny. Have the drow been here longer than the Dark Lady? Would anybody know that? Like,
yes. Actually, the drow and slash elves in general. So all elves, dark and light, are the original people of Alanis.
Okay. Then my second part to that question, which would be to the group, would be, with the whole thing going on with the Zodiac, be a way to overthrow her and bring back who was ever here before?
Wait, overthrow who?
The Dark Lady.
What do you need to
like,
overthrow the Dark Lady for?
Isn't she like the ruler of this land and all that? Like, wouldn't the drow rather have their own ruler?
No, the drow already have a.
Do they worship her?
different
See, I'm confused.
So, as Starlock was discussing, the drow worship a demon of some sorts. The Dark Lady is not a demon.
But wouldn't this is supposed to be like a Dread Lord rebirth? Could that be what they're doing to bring somebody else back to take over for her?
Ash, what you know of, many of the drow that are closer to the surface also reverberate Silk as a goddess, or have pushed humans into worshipping of her as a partnership.
Yeah, because Ashen City is basically her
Yes.
temple city, basically. So
Correct.
No, but I was thinking along in different lines that, similar to what you were saying. It could be a way to. It'd be the opposite of that, I think. I believe the Drow would want to strengthen the Dark Lady's hold because they flourish under her. They worship her. Ashen City is her base of power for all her worshippers, and there are Drow who worship her. They don't just worship Lolth. They worship her, and she's the ruler of this realm, not by her choice, but by the realm's choice. So the only one that could release the Dark Lady from the realm is the realm. The Dread Realms are their own thing. Alanis is trapped in the mists, so.
And we're trying to make people understand that the Dark Lady doesn't personify evil. It's because she's called the Dark Lady.
I really think you don't understand the concept of the history here. She personifies evil. Sorry, you can drop that.
So then
that's how you get your own Dread Realm.
I will say, she originated that. You do know in the last 500 years that is no longer true. Many people, especially those that are into the divine, the arcane aspect of things, will follow Silk in that regard, not for malice reasons.
Right, but she is evil just because they're worshiping her as a god of magic.
No, she originated evil, which continues the perception of it and of the Dread Realm. But there has been a movement of followers that believe that they can change what she is and have done so, at least in their following. It is a debate amongst her cult followers, her fanatics. Like, it is debatable. Most of your people, like, I just want to say around, like Tyrians and Ross, don't like her and judge her so. But as a follower of Cross, you've known that there are those that kind of want to know more magic, and the aspects of the night will follow Silk and not have malicious intentions.
All right, so
quit being a datist.
No, here's the thing. Ash is, so I will rephrase what I said, but he still feels that he was raised on some old stories too. So,
yes, that's fine.
So I'll rephrase it that Silk was, I wouldn't say Silk, sorry, the Dark Lady was made the Dread Realm because of her evil deeds, and her followers are not necessarily evil. And she doesn't necessarily require people to be evil to follow her and give her powers. So maybe this is a path along that her followers trying to, as Yajiro keeps saying, make her good, but
we're going to make her good through devil magic and blood magic and sacrificing a village.
I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm saying that's what people are saying. And yeah, the devil magic and all that,
we're trying to prevent that stuff.
So could this be a way to set up another stronghold for her, or another place of worship?
Sorry, trying to separate out of game knowledge. Hold on.
Because right now we don't know what happens if they touch the circle.
So I can tell you what happens if they touch the circle.
Okay, what happens?
That would bring Alanis back to what Ash here believes it to be, the original evil. Which we definitely don't want.
Where elves and drow ruled.
No, he's saying...
No, it's not going to go back to being pixies and rainbows and unicorns.
He's saying it would eliminate all those efforts to turn the Dark Lady from the path of pure evil towards more of a neutral god of magic. In other words, if those creatures get to the seal, they'll bring us back to a true dread realm with a true dread lord who is much more active than the Dark Lady has been in recent years.
So could this be a way to make her a dreadlord or get her back to where she was before?
She is a dreadlord. And
I understand she is, but
right.
would this turn her back to what she was before then? If they touch the circle, would that be what happens?
If they succeed, they will erase the progress that we're trying to make.
They will erase the progress her followers are trying to make towards bringing her from the path of evil. Yes. It would make Alanis a worse place.
So it sounds like we need to know or try to figure out what happened in the past that closed the circle.
The close?
So
You mean
that's what Star-Lord said.
That
They were
made
able
the
to close the
circle fail.
circle.
To stop it, to end it.
Yeah,
Alright, get to reading, Ian.
I'm fine with that.
Use them
Anyone
book
want to
smarts.
help?
Lady Carolyn doesn't have much for book smarts, so
Wow.
let's go
Ouch.
with
I'm not that bad. I'm not that great, but I'm not that bad. I will be happy to help you, Ian. I was about to suggest it. I just wanted to check what my history was.
So, Yujiro, you
Pirate
mentioned
mind.
that if the beast touched the seal, it would destroy all the progress that we have been making.
and by we, I mean the royal we. That'd be me.
Right. So, and you have been the person that has the greatest knowledge and been able to distinguish for us the good followers of the Dark Lady versus the bad followers of the Dark Lady that we thought dominated the entire thing. So you are working toward the redemption of the Dark Lady
That is correct.
with your patron, the Raven Queen. What is the relationship between the Dark Lady and the Raven Queen? Is the Raven Queen a servant or a subordinate of the Dark Lady that is working toward her redemption?
Say she's a follower herself. Now, mind you,
Okay.
I will also let you know that the next beast, according to my patron, will open the way for us all to learn. And I wish I could tell you more, but I cannot.
Open the way for us all to learn. So the next
I
beast
imagine
is
that she means the history, the lore.
the next beast is the Dewey that Lady Carowin mentioned.
I don't believe it's going to be called Dewey.
No, he works in my library.
The next beast is the beast.
The beast.
Yes.
The beast.
You know, the big guy sits on top of a chair, answers questions better than everybody else.
Well,
What?
the big guys that sit on top of chairs and answer questions for people are definitely beasts. That has been my experience in all my education. At any rate, I don't expect us to be able to make meaningful travel before dawn. I still need to go making my recommendations to the Lord. We still need to have some modicum of sleep before we attempt to make meaningful travel as quickly as possible. I don't even know how as quickly as possible is yet. But
Well, it took us what, a week to. It was a week, right, to get here. But that was being forced all in carriages. We weren't allowed to ride.
we may. It may not be just us returning to Welshire. Let me see. So, pardon me, take my leave. Right now, other questions that I did get answered, aside from Ian being able to use the library, no, you are not being held in any way. You are not prisoners in this building. However, unless you're familiar with Greyheim, I'm not certain where you're going to be able to find facilities or resources better than the ones that are being provided to you here. You have full hospitality of the building. It is essentially, for lack of a better word, a municipal building. So have a care where you go and respect and consideration the things you find elsewhere in the building. More food can be brought to you. More basins, ability to bathe, better sleeping facilities than these couches. The guards are outside to answer your questions, and they were told that they need to see to your defense. So that does not mean keep you trapped in the room. It means keep you away from muggers or other people that might seek to take advantage of you or attack you here in the city. So if they seem to be escorting you someplace or seem to be hovering around you, keep in mind that their job is to make sure that you do not come to harm, not to mind you. So they're just doing what they've been ordered to, and they do not have dark intentions towards you. I'll go now and return when I have better information. That may, in fact, be morning after I have gotten myself some rest.
You're going to go see the Lord, or you're going to go back to the temple?
I'm going to go see the Lord.
All right. So, Ian, are you leaving to go to the temple, the tower?
Yeah, I guess, if I'm allowed.
Yeah, he told you to go.
I figured I'd go with.
Okay.
Actually, I was going to suggest you should not leave here because that could be seen as poor etiquette.
Who? Me?
The one, yeah, you. The one actual noble we have here, leaving the safety / hospitality of the Lord. I was actually also suggest you ask if a letter, note, or something could be sent to your family's patron to let them know you are in town, because that would be considered rude to not let them know you were here.
Oh, that's Lord Haskett. That's the Lord of Greyheim.
The House of DeVry was the ones who set up your family here. They're the ones who got your parents the position, basically, put them in charge. So maybe a polite note to tell them you're in town.
Very well.
I know it's not what you like doing, but we kind of have to play these games here when we're in this town.
Who is going to go with Ian then, if I am not? I agree, reluctantly, I agree that perhaps I should not be the one to go with him, but I do not like the idea of us being separated into singles.
Magdalene can go with him.
How do they feel about pointy ears in Greyheim?
I was
Do they
just
have any,
going to ask if I could
do
tell
they have any
them.
malice toward them, or
No, elves are very rare, and they're very considered like superheroes. Like it'd be like Superman walking down the street.
fantastic? Tyros, you should go with Ian. I think the people will love you.
I love the library. Let's get some books.
But you're asking the man who took off all his clothes to get in the carriage to go with him.
Oh, I know it's a bad idea, but
It's
since
why
the
don't you go?
people will revere him, it shouldn't be awful.
It
You
might
could go-
slow them
you could
down
go-
to and
you might-
from.
I feel like I'm writing a joke here. A bard, a druid, and a mage all walk down the road.
It's gonna be part of your stories.
So, reading in libraries is not really my thing.
No, but you may know things differently than he does at the time.
I suppose I can read stuff that Ian might not be able to. Fine, I'll go with you,
That
Ian.
is
Right,
true.
Magdalene. Alright, Tyros, you get to be Superman next time. You can go next time.
Oh,
All right, so Ian, Magdalene, and Yujiro are going to the Rose Tower.
Yes.
Ian,
Okay.
Magdalene, and Yujiro all walk into a bar.
All right.
Yep.
Ash, what are you gonna do?
I'm staying with Carolyn.
Tyros is gonna
Wherever
stay with
she
Carolyn
goes.
too, then. Okay.
What?
All right. So you guys go. You will be our Rose Tower people. You will be met by a 6'7", 50-ish year old man with shoulder-length brown hair and full-chested brown beard, green eyes at the door.
You're a big fella.
I have been told that for sure. How may I help you?
This guy here is looking for books on the history and lore of Welshire.
Oh, there may be some things on it, obscure, but the Temple of Thoth usually would carry general information if that's what you're seeking.
We're also
I
looking
want-
for. Go ahead, Ian.
I want everything besides the general information.
I see. I see. You a mage yourself?
Huh? No?
No. Magnus, I am a mage. We definitely need an arcane check for that. Ah, I see. Red robe. Studying. Not common of the red roses, but you may come. And he takes you and leads you to. It's about the second floor. Place is immaculate. There's definitely a lot of tapestries, statues, busts in that area, and then he leads you into a temple. There is a woman, not very big, with spiked white locks on her hair, strangely cold blue eyes, behind a desk with like 3 to 4 stacks of books all around her. She does not look up at you. And he goes, "Oh, don't mind her much. You can go to the aisles and seek what you need."
Who's she?
Oh, that is Snowdrop. She's a bit kooky. Don't talk to her much.
Snowdrop.
Oh, he goes, "Oh, sorry. I am Bear, if you couldn't tell by the size of me."
Oh, we can tell.
Good, good. I'm pretty plain. Brown rose.
Who would we ask if we need help finding information?
Definitely not her. She doesn't like other people often.
Oh.
I could try to find Sunflower, but it's probably going to cost you if you want to get her to help you. I don't like it in here, so I'm not going to help you either.
Okay. Like, cost us what? How much?
I don't know. I don't
From our
have a
soul?
price tag, but
What are we
I'll
looking
find
for?
Okay, well, can you get her, please?
Yeah, I'll go get her, Your Majesty.
Thank you.
Within about
That's
20 minutes, a 5-footish, very young, she's definitely about 19 or 20, curly blonde hair, pretty attractive, young little girl comes up in a yellow robe. Bear says you wish help in the library?
Yes, we need information on the area that is currently being occupied by the town of Welshire.
Welshire, the southern town of Greyheim.
Yes.
I see. Sure. Give me a moment to check some things. What are we looking for?
I want... I made some notes. I want to know what was there prior to Welshire. I want to know any legends, myths, songs, the history of the land itself, anything you have on the Black Zodiac also. Again, myths, legends, songs, lore, all of that.
You're a musician? A bard?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I see. Give me an insight check.
14.
You feeling that kind of flustered a little bit, or knowing that you're a bard.
Okay.
But Magdalene goes, he's here to study information. Okay. Get to the point.
Yes,
Right,
I actually
sure.
do need this information.
Okay.
And the further back in history we can go for anything and everything, please.
It's going to take a moment, and then after a while
Okay.
she gives you about 3 to 4 books for you to sit and begin to peruse.
All right.
Give me an investigation roll.
12.
Okay. You do not find anything of another existing town,
Okay.
but that does not necessarily mean that was one that was not was basically large enough to be considered. There is a possibility that it could have been a halfling village. The land below this was called the Dark Shire, and it was known to have wells and drowning witches, or those that possess magical prowess. It is not known
So wait,
for
wait.
much undead.
The
or
wells were
anything.
used to drown the witches?
Yes. But there has not been any known incursion of undead or drow activity beyond it was long ago, but beyond mages, like some of the most powerful mages, making it like looking for heroes of old.
Okay. So none of these had information on the Zodiac or anything like that?
From what you
Or is-
discovered, I mean, you're reading right now, and this is kind of like
Yeah.
what kind of you're picking up a little bit on.
Right.
I mean, you're trying to find something that doesn't seem like it was hugely big on right now,
Right.
and that's what this young girl basically found through the system of information that you gave her.
Yeah. Does Yandro or Magdalene have any better ideas or anything like that?
Magdalene's not a very good studier, and apparently
Of course
neither is Yajiro. Both of them just kind of looking at you and looking at pictures and books.
I probably want people.
But if you come across language that you can't read yourself, then I'll read it for you.
I haven't yet, I don't think.
Do you speak Elven?
No.
Yujiro, you will notice that there. Give me an investigation check, Yujiro, off of you then.
Okay, I do speak Elven.
I know.
Okay. 13.
Also, you basically do know that it's not so much here, but a little bit more to the east. There is a possibility of a fabrication of the realm changing from a pure aura of goodness land to a much more darker and evil, and that corruption could have some bleed effect, but you're unsure if it really bled that far south. And you kind of know that links closer to Morheim and the haunted woods north of your old city. And that is scripture that you found written in Elvish.
Alright, I'll share that with Ian. Obviously.
Thank you.
What is your both of your passive perceptions?
Mine is 12.
12,
11.
11. Okay. Why don't you each give me a perception roll then?
17.
14.
Okay. Okay. I just sent you something, Jeremy, but I don't want you to respond just yet. Jen. And the group with Kerwin. A courier guy arrives. He's let in by the guards. And he goes... Actually, let me get a name here first. Okay. He goes, Lady Cadell,
Yes.
I have, my name is Ewan. I have been sent to invite you to dinner.
By whom?
Truffle de fry, madame.
Ah. Very well. At what time?
Within the hour, madame.
Okay. I can't remember. She's dressed basically. I mean, we didn't bring clothes. She's dressed as she was dressed, isn't she?
Correct.
You had time to grab stuff.
Well, you got cleaned up, but you're definitely not in nobility.
Right. Okay.
But
You're
it's
the
not
only
like
one
you
that could
could not.
that stuff.
You could not ask of it.
I was going. I was going outside expecting to give a speech to the townsfolk. I didn't have time to pack anything. Very well. Express my gratitude at the invitation, and I will be there soon.
I will notify the servants of the household to help prepare you, madame. He will
This
wait
household?
outside. Yes, madam.
Very good. Thank you. That was my concern.
A bunch after within 15 minutes, several girls come in, and they whisk you away to another room. And 2 gentlemen come and get you, Tyros, and 2 gentlemen come and get you, Ash.
All right.
And then you guys are all gonna get dressed up.
Gussied up.
I begrudgingly go with them.
I'm wearing my vestments. I let them know.
Yeah, I know how you work, but
Good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
they will still clean up your other linen part of it. All right, Yujiro, you were given some information. How would you like to respond?
I'm going to approach Snowdrop.
Okay.
But I'm sure that she's not paying any attention to me.
Correct.
She's probably reading a book actively.
Correct.
And where is this book located on her desk?
It is the 3rd in one of her stacks. Underneath, 3rd high, underneath 4 more.
Okay. Okay. Pardon me, madam. I see that you're actively reading a book, but this title here caught my eye. Do you mind if myself and my partner here take a look at it while you're reading your title?
Why would you need my book?
Um, well, the title itself, The Fog and the Darkshire, caught my interest, and I believe it might hold some kind of information that we're looking for.
It always holds information. That's what books are about. But what is interested to you about it? That I should relinquish it from my studies.
Well, myself and my partner Ian here, we're actually from a town to the south called Wellshire.
Ah,
And we've recently been plagued with some, I would probably call them dark happenings. And we're trying to get a little more information on why that might be plaguing our town.
are you the paladin of this Wellshire group?
Maybe?
You have a very pretty sword.
Well, yeah, it's not the only pretty thing I've got. But that's besides the point.
Sure, you can use the book. And she looks back down to her book.
Well, thank you very much. I'll gently take the book out. I'll make sure that I don't dislodge anything else or
Okay.
ruin it, whatever
Alright.
mess she's got going on here.
Alright. Both of you, Ian and Yujiro, please roll me an investigation check then.
14.
Okay.
2.
Wow, Ian, you're getting really tired of reading books.
I fall asleep.
There you get a sense that from what you're reading, Virgil, and again, you guys are not great book lore studiers, that the land can seem to change. You're getting that the fog can do things to it, which could mean that there are a lot of discoveries to be had. Nothing really kind of popping out from what you get, but you don't feel like there's probably definitely more still to learn.
Okay, as I put the book back, so Snowdrop, that was your name, right? That's what Bear called you?
That would be my name.
You seem to enjoy your reading and reading many books. Have you come across this thing called the fog in your other readings?
I believe you have an investigator attached to you. Why don't you work through him?
Well, he's not nearly as attractive, so perhaps you'd also be willing to help us.
Ah, the paladin is charming as in the days of old, I see.
And I will bow.
I could possibly help. I've already been helping your investigator.
That does make sense from you asking if I was the paladin of my group.
But you seem to be much more. Are you much more?
You may have to join us to find out.
There are other parts of the realm that have dire situations. Not every one of us of the Circle of Roses coming from Greyheim need to be in Wellshire, young paladin.
But wouldn't that help the cause? Wouldn't that end the turmoil even quicker?
Perhaps. But there are other threats. We can't
Well,
be...
there's always other threats.
We need to be spread out to do all that, but Starlock is a very capable mage for you.
Oh, I'm absolutely sure he is. But I'm sure he's not as well read as you.
No, but he does know how to utilize those that help in that matter. But he's an excellent on-the-field investigator, which I do not care for as much.
That's understandable. Don't like to get your hands dirty, other than dusty and books, obviously.
Yes. But if you need help, you are in the City of Heroes. One just needs to ask a little bit more around in different places, and I'm sure you will find a army company of men and women to answer to you.
But what if I was just looking for a scholar?
Oh. Well, if you have one, Starlock is one of those. But you might want either Sunflower there, even though she's extremely young. But maybe Morin will help you. That is her master.
All right. I appreciate the help that you have given me. I shall take my leave.
Good luck.
Thank you, my lady.
All right. With that, a little more investigation kind of going on. Lady Carowin, you are invited to the DeFry house.
Yep.
And that is not really that far away. It is really this group area right here, if you see my black arrow. So you
Okay.
don't leave very far. You're brought in. They escort you into the dining room. And you are met by a very old lady. Very white, silver hair, aging. She's somewhere in her 50s. She's 5'5". She goes, "Oh, Carowin, good to see you again. You will recognize her as Ayla, A-E-L-A, DeFry."
So I do know her.
You do know her, not much, but I'll give you, it's family, so you probably sort of recognize her part of it.
Like, as the old lady that I barely knew, grandma that, nobody, I've never visited, or, like, is there a relationship?
She is cousin to your uncle's side. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I will give not like a super low curtsy like I probably did at Hassett's. I will give her a curtsy and say, how'd you say her name? Ayala?
Ayla?
Ayla?
Yeah.
I will say, Ayla, it is very lovely to see you again. It's been an age.
It has been an age. How goes it in the town?
Not well, unfortunately, which is what brings us here. My parents are ailing at this time, but
Oh,
I
no.
hope to solve that problem soon.
Well, I hope. Well, I'm here to treat you to dinner. You and your priest. And you have an elven friend. That is good omen. Very good omen, Carowin.
I hope so. May I present high priest or just priest?
I don't actually use
Ash.
the title.
Well, this is Father Ash, and this is Tyros. He cleans up well.
He does?
Yeah, he is a druid.
Druid elf.
I give a thumbs up with like leaves in my beard still.
No, the leaves are gone. We
Yeah, you
groomed
got
you.
cleaned up, bud.
I
No sticks at dinner.
give her a bow and say, my full name, I'm Ashton Excaligo. I am a priest of Cross, and I am honored to be in your house.
Well met. You're sat at a table. There is an older gentleman in his early 60s, short, trimmed brown hair with a thin mustache and goatee. He's seated. You can guess he's about 6 feetish. There's another younger individual in his early 20s. He's got long brown hair, pretty much tied back. He's in military dress. And there is a younger girl. She seems to be somewhere around 18 to 19, with nice brunette hair, very curly. And Ayla goes, well, this is your my husband, Lord Philippe de Frey, my son Similian, and my daughter Maravona.
Have I met any of those 2 cousins of mine?
You have met Philippe, the house lord, because they've been married when you left.
Right.
You have you may probably don't really remember. You probably remember the other 2, but they were very small.
What was the daughter's name again?
Maravona, Marivona.
And what was the son's name?
Similian,
Similian.
Similien. Lord Fire goes, Carwin, it's good to see you. I understand that you're having some problems down in Wellshire. And part of this is I know that Lord Haskett is trying to do things for you. But you are blood through my wife, and I am willing to help you as you need it. I want you to remember that. I know you've had your renegade ways with your father, but these are important times now. I imagine that you are facing, and if your father is ailing as your mother, then you need to have bloodlines.
Yes.
As they're talking, I sit down at the table and I cast Druid Craft. So as I sit down, it's like a puff of leaves and sticks fall off of me, making kind of a scene and scooting my chair in too loud.
The younger ones are very taken aback and like wowed a bit by it, but it definitely draws more of the Lady and Lord de Frey's concern of you.
How's everybody doing?
As the Lord finished saying that and Carowin pauses, I'll say, her parents are indisposed, but Carowin has stepped up quite efficiently and taken control of the town and done an excellent job with all the things that have faced us. You would be proud of her.
I am always going to be proud of her. Building a new town and facing the dangers that live in our realm is a challenge that is very noble and brave to do. So, Carowin, is there anything you need?
Honest, yes. I believe that we could stand with having more trained bodies to help fight beasts. We are also being plagued by reoccurring attacks by monsters.
As he's thinking about that, I'll say Sir Lennox seems to be a capable commander. Were you part of the decision to have him sent to help out?
Yes. Sir Murray is a fine knight.
He seems it.
Very tactical in strategic sense. If you need bodies,
It
we'll help
gives
you.
me comfort to hear that he comes from the line of the Williams, so there's a name associated with that as well that's heroic.
He is. Similian. Yes, Father. Would you help your cousin in this adventure? I would be honored to go down to Wellshire and protect her and the house. You will have his warriors then, Lady Carowin. Does that satisfy you?
Yes, indeed. Thank you,
Good.
my lord.
Good. Let us eat. With that, you have a fine dinner. Pretty much very lavish. Roasted boar. Very flavored with sauces and spices. And as you guys eat and get your fill through desserts, you guys have just not had a finer dish. Like, this is definitely extravagant. Lord of Fry goes, Kyle, would you come with me for a moment?
Certainly.
And he nods and says, excuse us. And he leads you to a different door, opening it to allow you to go through. He walks in, closes the door behind, and you're in like a large personal study with him. His desk, there are some personal books, trophies of felled beast that adorn the walls. He goes into a box, lights a cigar, and he goes, I'm sending my son to you. He is a representative of the Fry House and, of course, Greyheim. But you do know your reputation has come up all the way up to Greyheim about how you chose not to follow in your father's will of marriage and securing the house line of your Cadell line.
Yes.
Where do you stand on that now?
I suppose it would depend upon the quality of the suitor presented. And may I speak plainly?
Yes, I brought you in here to speak plainly like I know your reputation has dictated to you, Carowin.
My lord uncle, if I can kick his ass, I don't want him.
I see. So definitely one of Greyheim seems to be more of your fitting. Guess that's to be expected.
I cannot see. I know that I would prefer. How do I say this? I know that at my station, the likelihood of a love match is low. However, as a frontier town, I would expect any husband of mine to take up arms as willingly as I would to defend our people.
Okay. I will work on such things, knowing you. Will you promise to this, if I find something, as much as I have now dedicated my son to your cause, you will do so for your father and your house?
If you can find somebody with those qualities who is agreeable to me, then yes.
Good. Are you doing all right with the situation with your parents?
I have my good days and my bad days, as you would probably imagine.
And your cousin?
She has been a help.
Okay.
In
You will
her
have
own
trying
way.
times, Carowin. I would definitely rely on your faith with those of your priesthood around you. They often guide us lords and ladies through our troubling times of the realm. He goes up to the fireplace now after smoking a cigar, and he pulls the blade off a hanging mantle. It is shiny. It is a slight shade of green tint to it, but it's not like green. It just seems to reflect that way. You don't know where the reflection of green comes from, because it is definitely the purest silver you've seen, but it seems to always hold to that. You know, most of us that settle in Greyheim are Greyheim riders ourselves.
Yes.
We have our own histories. We carve out the land and we protect it. It is the way of the people of Greyheim. I want you to succeed in Wellshire. I want you to know that I care of you and your family and what you do to your people there. Will you remember this?
Yes. Is he being sincere? Do I feel like he's being completely sincere?
Give me an insight check.
8 minus 1, 7. Yeah, I think he's being sincere.
Pretty well. You just don't do well with, like, authority nobles, especially. You felt this way with your father. He's intimidating. You just never feel comfortable in a situation with older men of this position kind of, like, dictating to you. That's kind of where you're kind of at. He goes, I am investing tonight in you. When you leave, you will not be as you've done before and flee. I expect you to hold true to these values. Hold true to your word. And prize the things that I have gifted to you for your survival and your reputation. He does a quick little slash with this magnificent sword, then quickly spins it sort of in his hand, reaching his arm out with its hilt towards you. Carwin, this was my blade. A magnificent blade, forged by dwarves in a long ago time. I want you to wield it. I know you feel that it probably would go to my son, but in the way of his own things, his path will come, but yours, I have been told, is destined for much more danger than my son's. And I feel that you will probably jump in his way because you are reckless. I do not wish to lose either one of you, and I believe investing in you, from what I've been told, will be the best for our family. And he kind of nudges the hand out a little bit more for you to take the sword.
I'll grip the hilt.
And he releases his hand, and you feel the weight of the sword into your hand. Give me a wisdom saving throw, please.
Oh, yay.
Oh, the cursed sword.
Minus 1. That's a 10.
You immediately feel power from this blade. You feel ancient, resonating, crafting in it. Like you can almost hear parts of the ringing from the hammersmiths that help forge this blade. You seem to hear halls where this thing laid before it was birthed into its creation. As you feel the resonating of that, and then you feel the heat, then you feel ringing of clashing of steel, a part of it. You feel its strength and its breaking of enemies upon it. Then you feel somewhere else the air, the leaves, the wind, the rustling. Like you feel like all of a sudden you're horseback riding again. The energy and the power of this blade is like nothing you have ever felt. And with that, you are surely aware that you're attuned to the blade.
Okay.
Jen's like, what did I get?
Right?
As Lord DeFry looks at you, he goes, "Good luck, Carwin. As the great elves that once taught our people in Greyheim. Don't forget your roots. He opens the door to let you out and pretty much stays within the study, pretty much letting you know that the party is over.
I don't have. I mean, I'm not in my armor, so I'm.
Yeah.
Admiring and walking, holding a sword in my hand.
Similian goes, "You have my father's blade?"
Uh-huh.
When I chose to go with you, Carowin, I knew it was important. I didn't realize it was this important. But I'm at your side.
Ben, is it recognizable as a green blade?
You've heard of Greyheim blades, but you have no history or knowledge of what
Never
they
seen
really
one.
entail. No, where you come from. They're just legend. You know it.
Right.
You will know that what he's done though is very, very important. But and it not being to Similian would mean that there's definitely some type of more bonding of the House Cadell to House DeFry by him doing this. It's a huge contract act between a lord to give up his blade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Similian, you say you'll stand by my side, but know that I will stand by yours.
Well, let's ride and give him hell, cousin.
Indeed. But not dressed as this.
Of course not. Ayla will give her son a kiss, and Marivona goes, "Oh, well, I hope you get everything secured. I can't wait to come and visit."
In time.
I understand. Well, good luck.
Similian, before we leave, does your armory possibly have a sheath that will fit this, and so I'm not walking through Greyheim with a bared blade?
Of course. You will be fetched a very elaborate scabbard that will do so.
Ash is just looking at the blade like, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Mark, we're going to roleplay next. All right, so now we are with Lord Haskett. And Starlock, you are going to see him. He goes, "Come, Starlock, your investigation."
I believe there is a credible threat to the town, and probably to all of Greyheim should this threat go further. They are, by and large, sincere and credible. Believe their resistance or apprehension to our interests or your interests in their behaviors is understandable, given the relative positions and the threat they feel to their city. They feel like they are being demoted or withdrawn from the town that they want to defend very, very much. And I feel that they should be allowed to return to Welshire as quickly as possible. They are locals. They have an intimate understanding of the area and the best understanding of the situation as it arises now over any other agents that are currently there or that we could send.
You're saying
There's
they're the only
also-
ones that can handle this problem?
I think that they're best positioned for it. I will vouchsafe for this further that I wish to go with them to investigate this further. So I am not placing my life in unnecessary hazard by going to this thing, which has been referred to or is named by the Circle as a black zodiac. It is an object and an effect which has been seen before, but long enough ago that it is largely forgotten to all but the most devoted scribes, sages. I was able to get more information from further research. It is devil magic and blood magic. It's been seen before, but only in the Underdark, never on the surface, so this is a new thing. It has been associated with the Drow, but the Drow hold allegiance with demons, not with devils. Demons and devils are warring factions. They don't ally. So I don't know why that would be. So that is a chink in the armor of the lore. I think that can only be further explored closer.
The circle is demon and devil or drow?
It's long enough ago that there isn't good documentation on it. The lore from the past is that it is drow work.
Drow work
But
using abyssal.
correct. The problem being that the lore from the past says that it is drow work, but the current observations is that it is devil magic. The drow worship a demon. Demons and devils don't work together. So why would drow be setting up devil traps or devil magic to cause us problems? It is probably, if it is drow work using devil magic, then it is probably some sort of political machination on their side that is causing us hazard. Perhaps our defeating this seal will cause the devils some sort of setback that the demons can optimize on.
What is the hazard exactly?
I don't. The hazard to the wheel, the Black Zodiac in Welshire, its hazard is imminent and direct threat to innocence. We have farmers and villagers out there with no magic weapons, no significant martial capability. They have no ability to defend themselves against summoned beasts.
Beasts. Devil beasts?
Some sort of summoned devil beast. Apparently, they have already fought and defeated a basilisk, a manticore, and a hydra. Apparently, all of them being larger and more powerful than their respective species. These summoned things are attempting to get into the town and make contact to touch this Black Zodiac, which is in the basement of a building.
Of a building.
It's of a building.
Do you know which building it is?
It is, I believe, in the basement of the steward's house.
The house family's estate.
I took it to mean the steward of the town.
He would be abiding the house with David Cadell if that was the case. So beasts are trying to get into the basement to touch a circle that would do what to us in Greyheim and the people of Welshire?
Apparently undo generations of the work of heroes of Alanis to lift Alanis out of the mists.
You're saying that these beasts are trying to close something that is a keyhole for our torment in the Dread Realm.
That is what I've been given to understand. That is the information that I have been presented. So to further understand this, I have to go there. And I would like to go there with some force from the Church of Ra that may have divine power of the sun to work against devil magic. And to have some strength of arms so that these, what is it? 6, 7. Fewer than 10 heroes that are attempting to fight these abyssal summoned creatures that some level of garrison is the wrong word, but force that can at least defend the city while so we could do shift work. So we could have guards and armed forces around the clock because there are 12 symbols on the artifact. 3 of them have filled with blood. Each time one fills with blood, a new beast attacks. They do happen at an interval of time. It is not a regular interval of time, but it is shorter than the time that has already been spent. I feel that it is reasonable to infer that they have already been attacked at least once more while we confer.
Can these symbols be filled more than one?
I don't know. It seems based on making assumptions of how magic generally works or how these artifacts work. It would be one at a time, perhaps as it progresses further on or as it sees more success. It might go faster and faster or begin to fill 2 or 3 at a time. If we can continue to work against it, hamper its efforts, slow down its work, it will continue to move more slowly. A lot like an investment, it's not likely to get more powerful if it does not see success.
Very well. I undertake your investigation, Starlock. I will render my verdict in the morning.
Excellent, well, Lord.
You're dismissed.
As you wish.
Right. Ian and Yojiro, give me one more investigation check, please.
$10. 19.
19. Okay. As you work with Sunflower, pouring through books and stuff like that, there is an intriguing element that does come out of your investigation. The fact that there is a much more bigger world underneath the lands on the surface of Alanis. So things above Greyheim, Kazgoroth, Kier de Leom. There apparently seems to be a world below, and it traverses everywhere. The paths of the dwarves and the dark elves seem to have touched every city underneath. As you all get back, things seem to be settled, and then you are brought back in the morning. Then basically you will heard that Lord Haskett has summoned you all in the morning. As you are all brought together, he asks you, Carowin, to step forward.
I will, and I will curtsy. Well, I'm probably back in my regular gear, so I'll bow.
Okay. He goes, Lady Carowin, it is brought to my attention that you are in the area directly affecting your own personal home. A ritual circle that seems to have potential to have dire effects upon the land around us. What that is, we are not quite sure. I am going to allow you to return as its caretaker, as your parents were asked. I will name you its acting lady. In any situation should your parents pass, or you may return it should they recover that is satisfactory of their intelligent capacity to still govern the town. If they snap out of this ritual, it will be up to my investigator to determine if they are still fit to rule Wellshire. I'm going to send my lead investigator, Starlock, with you. He is to establish your Rose Tower in Wellshire. I do not believe one is officially built, but there will be one being under construction as members of Greyheim go to see you defend this ritual circle. The Rose Tower must be able to handle this arcane threat, study it, and find the answers that you need. Starlock will be served by Jade Mantis and Sunflower to complete the circle there. I have been in contact with Lord DeFry, and he has already informed me that his son Similian is willing to go with a unit of Elk Knights to help defend the town. Those Elk Knights will now become a core faction unit under you. And I want you to understand, Lady Carowin, that you are now in full command of this unit, and all effects, all directed questions and decisions you must now make. Starlock will be your main advisor, and your priest, Ash. But you will not be alone in that of the faith. I have asked the High Priest, Paxicora, to send a disciple of his. He will be sending Priestess Christelle Kyrian to serve you and be a permanent resident of your town.
Hey, Ben, what was that name again?
I will put it in chat.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, my lord. Your faith in us and your assistance is very much appreciated.
Frontier towns are difficult. They will come up with much hardships. But what you're coming across is definitely something ancient and arcane. Something that Starlock must unravel sooner rather than later. Know that we are a resource to you, but I am fearful that you may be asked to stretch yourself across to find these answers. Know your resources well, Lady Carowin, to utilize such. Good luck, and I hope to see you in court again.
She will bow, and as she rises, she'll turn on her heel and, in a military way, march. Not in a rush, but she will march back towards the entryway.
Okay, you will gather your group, and then we'll be preparing to first thing in the morning, because you're basically meeting people, gathering all stuff like that. Will be to return back to Wellshire. That's where we'll end tonight's session. I need to kind of work through Art, you were working with Lee Winika, I believe.
Yeah, I got Lee's dates. Yeah.
So what did
he cannot do the 10th or the 31st.
Not the 10th or the 31st?
Which is Easter, so none of us are doing the 31st.
Right, where are we at?
Likely.
Sure. So
but it sounded like good.
So the 17th works for him? Is that a date?
Sounds like it, yep.
Alright. Old ways, we'll be back the 17th then. Sound good?
17th, okay.
Alright.
Alrighty.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all, and I'm very happy that we were able to fully do a full, complete thing. I didn't have to break this up into 2 sessions. Didn't crash. All good. Thank you very much.
Oh.
We will see you in a month.